Hi, everyone. It's the journey, and today it's not just about me and a guest who we'll be talking to in a minute. We welcome Eddie Camper for listeners of old, and Eddie
Well,
can say about him briefly.
yeah, I'm just excited to be here. We've known each other for a long time. My experience goes everywhere from 33 years in law enforcement to being an entrepreneur, a book author, a professor, wrapping up my PhD now. So I'm excited to hear all about branding because I really would like to learn more about it and know how to move my business along. So I'm excited.
That's good. And as you heard, Eddie was one of my, and I will make sure this is highlighted. Eddie was one of our first guests on the journey. Back in the early days when I was using a generic tablet, generic headphones, no ring light, no flashy screens. So that's how far we've gone. But today's guest is with Rich. Rich is the voice of impact-driven branding. After decades languaging, this is languaging, and launching brands, he founded RichBrands, specifically to serve art-centered entrepreneurs and professionals, helping involving individuals' brands with a foundation of clarity, longevity, and defined purpose. Welcome, Rich.
It's great to be here. And I think this is going to be I think what you're going to hear if you're listening to this episode could very well be a blessing, not only for your business, but also for your life. So stay tuned.
I like that. And Rich, as you gathered, Eddie is new as well. Well, he's not new. He's done loads of interviews in the past, but
Definitely not
it's
new.
it's new to the format of me doing the journey in this way because I've been reaching out to people on my social media to be actively part of the journey where they can be a co-host, where they can ask the questions, because guests often talk about things. I listen. I like listening neutrally. Eddie can come in and have another element to it by giving his opinion, and it gives the dynamics, a three-way split, four-way split if it's more people, but in this case, it's a three-way split.
Yep. So may I reflect on Eddie because he sounds like he's a lot of things, but I'm going to share something that you can draw from. Eddie, it's delightful that you have done so many things, the law enforcement, now going for your PhD, being a professor. There's so many dimensions of you, and there's probably you may play cello or you maybe speak several languages. Who knows? You're a organic chef. I don't know, but all of us have a lot of dimensions. And one of the things people don't frustrates them about branding because they think they have to be one thing and they think maybe they have to, get a superhero costume and then step into it, but it doesn't really fit, but they have to do it anyway because that's what branding is. Not true. I'm going to mention a term called the umbrella brand. Imagine if there were a brand that stood for the highest level impacts that you are made to make, and all those things that are part of you are spokes in the brand. So when you mention one, well, it was law enforcement. Oh, that fits. And then I was a college professor. Yeah, that fit. Why does it fit? Because of the umbrella. There is an umbrella. And I want you to know, Eddie, there's an umbrella for you. There's an umbrella for all of us.
Well,
And one of the questions that we're dealing with every day, all day, with people that we work with is not just how do we define in language a brand for your business, your consultancy, your authorship, your expertise, whatever, that are always aligned with the impacts you want to make. How do you do that so that your business is more successful? But the question is, what's the umbrella? And that's a dimension most people don't even know to think about. So there you go.
and I never thought of that. I mean, we've got, we own four different businesses with its own branding, its own colors, its own this. And sometimes it's just it becomes too much. It's like, why can't we just be one? And then we're like, well, we are one. We have a parent company. And it's like, okay, but the parent company doesn't explain all the spokes, like you said. So I am very excited to learn about that.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it is relieving for many people. I often tell the story of a man who came to me and he said, when I lost my wife, but then through a health thing, and I started looking at how I manage my own health, and I realized there's this whole alternative medicine, alternative care thing that's all natural. And I started doing that. I learned about brain training. I learned about stem cells. Now I learned about mushroom. And he starts talking about all these things he's into. And he goes, well, I don't know what my brand, and you're like, yeah, I know. It's kind of, it's a mess. It's a hodgepodge. Okay. But do you want to hear his umbrella brand? So Barry Bevier is now the founder of the legacy brand Mindful Longevity, Renew, Rejuvenate, Revitalize, holistic health mentoring that empowers lives. That is his highest level of impact. And all of those individual things he does, his story, his wife, his thing, the stems, all of those fit, but they're each a spoke. And even how he guides people through changing their health styles. Same thing for all of us. Yeah.
It's just amazing to hear that. And, you talk about brands and about how things get different. It's like when you're in a business, you start off at, bottom, you work your way up, and you're eventually the bloomage of that production because you've become the CEO, you become the leader. It just shows that anything's possible.
And because everyone's on the journey, we're all made by the same creator. We're all born with unlimited power, but we take it away or we hand it off, or, we, out of fear or whatever, we don't use it. But we all are born with gifts, and we all have the same opportunities to make the most significant impact on those whose lives we touch with the gifts that we've been given. So that journey can be a journey of joy, unless you're holding yourself back in fear and you don't bake clarity into what you're doing. Imagine if people asked their heart for the impacts they really wanted to make and could see making when they thrive at what they want to do, and let that desire for impacts lead. That makes not only a significant journey, you get closer to why you're here. So yeah, branding done right sharpens the success of a business, but it also creates a platform from which it's much easier to step into our purpose. Praise God. So it's not your normal branding guy, okay? So, seriously, but that's okay.
It's okay. Here. And, like you heard me say, my early branding was I did have professional voiceover for most of my audio. That was done. I've got friend contact who is a voiceover person. That was already in place. But just the imaging, I've evolved from the image that I used originally. Now, the image you see, for purposes who can't see it, is literally like the journey. The journey's written in bright, luminous colors. And then you got the blue sign, which is like a highway, motorway, which depends which country you're in. And it's going under a bridge, but it's a two-way direction. You can take that as going straight on your journey. Do you believe journeys, in your opinion, no matter what you've done for branding example in this case, do you ever find it's always gone a diverted rate? Because, it's always got to take a diversion. Diversions are there to test us.
Always. I remember one of my early self-development rooms that I was in, and somebody said, most people think success looks like this, and they drew a straight line that went from low on the left to high on the right. And then he said, well, here's mine. And it was like, all over the place, up and down and around. And he goes, that's what success looks like. Yeah, there are no coincidences. Let's say that up front. We're not in control. We think we are. Man makes plans. God determines outcomes. Yeah. So yeah, there's always deviations. There's always, however, we get to ask for our creator's will in our life. What is the creator's will? Because we get to look at some, let's call them, there's a little offshoot over there, and we get to be discerning more wisely as we get older, whether that's a good road to take or not. I am not going down that road. Sometimes we do go down and then we see it again. We go, I'm not going down that road again. Right. So it's like, there's always diversions, your word, and it's life.
Yeah.
David, I mean, I'm sorry, Rich. I heard it put a different way. One day I was sitting there talking to someone, and they said, "You know what, son? You have a lot of plans, and you keep saying I, but you want to make God laugh. Go ahead and tell him your plans."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it made total sense. And I said, "You know what? That's absolutely right." And when I stopped, making my plan, saying this is what I'm going to do, and say, well, this is what I would like to do, and I would like for you to get me there, things became a lot easier.
Eddie, you have unlocked something I rarely talk about, but I'm going to take 30 seconds. So you watched the video that said, I changed my prayer, Lord, I'm going to resign this addictive career to reshape my life. Show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. That's Rich telling God what he's going to do. Okay. And I got really busy right away doing real estate because I didn't just want to sit around. So I was doing investing. I was doing, right? Well, I don't know if you remember 2008, but I sure do. Anything that had to do with real estate tanked. And so I found myself in a sea of financial adversity. And I know that's one of the things you stand for because I see what's behind you on your, you said leading through adversity. And I was reminded that adversity is not meant to define us. It's meant to strengthen us. And I have two sons, and I was not about to let financial adversity create me as the model of that's what took me out. It's what strengthened me. So that's a path that I went through, a diversion. It was the real path, I guess, but I thought it was a diversion. But anyway, to get my head back to let's see what God's will is here. And instead of me telling God what I was going to do. So thank you for unlocking that, Eddie. That's so true. The book I read every morning, I start by saying, help land on my heart. I did it this morning early. What you want me to hear so that I can use it in my business and in my marriage and in my life. So
True that.
yeah.
So the ultimate question comes along because obviously COVID came along. You was, into what you was doing. And we talk about adversity because Eddie's background shows leading through adversity. How did you find it through the pandemic? Did you find it more challenging than ever because there was this much bigger barrier holding people back from being able to go on that complete journey?
You're not going to expect this answer. So no, I did not find it more challenging. It exploded my business in a positive way. The world was willing to connect virtually versus actually. The entire speaking industry shifted from thousands of people in conference centers or in hotel rooms to literally virtual events. And there was a company who led that, who ran an event called the Virtual Event on Virtual Events, and they still do it today. Bless their hearts, they're in South Carolina. And so all of a sudden, Tony Robbins was in a studio looking at people on camera number 16 instead of in the big place in Vegas, with 25,000 people. But it was the same thing, just, same production company. They just shifted to virtual. So it helped me grow my business. I could show up, and I was pretty old school. I mean, I ran a high-tech ad agency, but I live in Los Angeles. I would drive all over the place to show up, to network, to do this. There was 2 solid years I didn't even get in my car. And my business grew rapidly. I showed up virtually. People heard me speak, and they would say, wow, could we do a Zoom call? And they would turn into a client, and then another, and ended up, I have clients in now, I think 17 states, the Virgin Islands, Canada, all virtual. So praise God, the virtual, and I would have to say I'm in the virtual events business, and I do 48 events a year, and now I've just added a new 3-day summit late in November. I do virtual events because I can reach more people that way. And my prayer is put in front of me, Lord, those people whose lives or businesses you want me to touch with this gift, and give me the eyes and ears and the wisdom to know who they are. Frankly, David and Eddie, who shows up is not even up to me. My job is to be out there. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, to be
Yeah.
out there.
And it's like the classic example, I follow keynotes often, and I know probably Eddie does as well. There is some companies that choose to stay remote. Like there is for example, and I'm using a brand name not sponsored by them, so I'm not saying too much, but Apple, their keynotes that they present are still done virtually. Yes, they have the people there in Apple Park watching, but it's all remote. You don't see the audience interaction anymore like you did back when Steve Jobs had a keynote, because keynote back in the day was in a theater. You saw Steve Jobs on the theater stage. He was
Right.
presenting. Now Tim Cook's done that in the early days, but COVID came along and it became all virtual.
So I'm also an organic chef, and I've read for decades what to put in your body and on your body. So I was aware the moment COVID hit, I started seeing things from organizations that were tracking what worked against COVID. High vitamin D, even ivermectin, the Institute of doctors all over the world that focused on what is working to lessen the results, to prevent, to strengthen the immune system. And I just started doing that right away. But I'm at home on Zoom, so it's like, they didn't let me come to church choir because I didn't have the shot. Wait a minute. I'm not the problem. I'm on Zoom all day. Yeah, but so I was blessed health-wise in that way. Eventually, a couple of years later, I did get COVID. I was on a vacation, which was weird, but because my body has such a high immune system tolerance, my COVID was pretty light. I didn't. I mean, it stayed for 8 days, but it didn't rack me with weird symptoms. And as life would have it, I was in a beach house, and they secluded me in my bedroom, but my bedroom was the one that looked at the beach. So I was in this idyllic beach house looking at, on Zoom.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it just shows. And I'm where I am, in Eddie's in Texas, it just shows that you could be connected wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm in Southern California, but I come from Pennsylvania and came through Michigan. I've been all over the place, but now I say I live at the Brand Ranch, and I love to cook. So if you don't make me drive, I will cook you a wonderful meal and you'll never leave hungry. So it's like, come to the Brand Ranch. Okay. We're on the side of the hill, looks up at the mountains on the east side of Los Angeles. So, beautiful place.
And people who are listening, you can just picture that. And I know I can picture it. And I'm just watching you talk to me about it, and Eddie's watching. So it's just like you can picture it in your mind.
We'll go down to the gardens and pick the kale that I'm going to chop and turn into dust so you don't have to chew it. I don't like chewing kale, but we'll put it under the omelet, so that all you have to do is get some kale dust in there and you'll be healthier right there. And from God's hand to your lips, it tastes, those tomatoes and those peppers and those things are way
Rich,
better.
it's only 9:53 here in El Paso. I haven't had breakfast. I haven't had coffee. And I'm like, I'm about to say bye and go make breakfast because you just made me really hungry.
Well, if you were here, it might be a wild caught salmon omelet with cream cheese and capers.
Oh, stop it.
And homemade sweet potato fries. And
you don't play fair, Rich. You don't
yogurt
play
with
fair.
berries. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Eddie, we got to catch that plane now.
All right, let's go.
You're invited.
You know.
You are invited.
All right, Rich. So, you do branding. You help with people with branding and stuff like that. So my dream is to have my own private jet so I can go pick up Dave and fly over to your branding ranch. How am I going to get there? How can people reach out to you for help?
Well, I'm going to answer your first question and then I'll answer the reach out. Okay. The first question is by baking clarity into the way your brand shows up. Clarity and consistency across the board. It is inconsistency that breaks trust. And so people think that they come up with a new thing and they try that and all the new things and hire the people that do the thing that gets some leads and da, da, da. It messes it up. It creates confusion and misinformation. They don't get credit for what makes them outstanding. When you begin, like we said, by close your eyes, envision the impacts you know you want to make at the highest level. You run multiple businesses, but there's an umbrella. And so if just hearing your background, law enforcement, not everyone comes out of that and recreates themselves, but you have, but yet you're teaching at a university and you're an author. So you obviously are meant to share what you've learned and you want to keep doing that. The question is, what's the highest level impact? Let's name that umbrella brand. And then when you do write, every book is a stake in the ground that moves you toward where that brand gets to go. When you do talk about one of your businesses, they know it's part of something that's the umbrella and it absolutely fits because it's from the same heart. So defining and languaging, and I'll be very specific here, the brand you will become. And frankly, when you write down those people you clearly see impacting and the impacts you see making on them, and that could be a number of different kinds of people, not just one type, okay? Not just one type. It could be people that are about to retire. It could be people that are starting their careers. It could be couples. It could be people that have, had their lives terrorized by trauma or by an event in their childhood. Or it can be somebody that just experienced divorce or somebody that just got a new degree. It doesn't matter whomever your heart says, I can really impact them. Or they need a new car or they need their car fixed. I mean, don't know what your businesses are, but, or they need security. I mean, if you're in the, whatever. It's whatever those people whose lives you bring, impact to and you really want to, that helps bake into the brand, the business brands and the umbrella brand, the clarity of where it goes. And I'll make it very tangible to you. There are two kinds of clarity they're missing in most brands, no matter what people are doing. Number one is an internal clarity. It's actually asking, whom do I really want to impact? And what are those impacts? First one, they have to reframe how they see themselves. They reframe something about the world. They learn a new mindset. They learn a new skill set. They apply the skill set and they get new results. Higher levels of impact on a particular kind of person. And that's the internal clarity. People don't do that work. They just start shooting and they don't do that work. When it's missing, it's obvious. The other clarity is external. And it sounds like this. You're looking at someone, virtual or in person, that you know you can impact and you really want to. And you say to them, I've heard what you've told me about you and where you are. And here's what I see for you. Those words pop their antenna. The words you use after that to paint a picture of what you clearly see for them make you a magnet or you fall flat. That clarity in that painting that picture for people of what you see for them, because sometimes they don't see it for themselves, makes you a magnet or you fall flat. And most brands fall flat. So hopefully that helps. And if you're listening to this, hopefully that gave you a little bit of a chill down your spine. If people want to get plugged into what are the steps, keep saying it's just steps. What are the steps of impact-driven branding? If I want, what if I do them all, it always works out? Yes. How do I connect with that? Well, you connect with RichBrands by going on richbrands.org. And right at the top of the homepage, it says, talk to Rich for 30 minutes. I don't charge for that. Literally, anyone in the world can go there. I've been doing this 49 years. My colleagues tell me I should be on a beach or on a yacht. I'm on Zoom. If you don't use it, hey, it's okay. It's up to you, but it's there. It also has, you can download some videos that answer frequently asked questions. I do, I would say a mind-changing, heart-changing half-day event every month called Branding You with Impact. I would suggest you attend. It's 4 hours on a Thursday morning or a Saturday morning, LA time, Los Angeles, so it's 8 to noon Pacific time. brandingyouwithimpact.com. That's it. Branding You with Impact, YOU, brandingyouwithimpact.com. Sign up, attend. It will be a blessing to your life, I believe.
Okay.
And it will shift how you understand what it means to define in language the perception, which is your brand. It's your brand's not what you think it is. It's what they perceive it is. Shaping a consistent perception in the minds of your most important target audiences whose lives you really want to impact. It could be a company, or it could be an industry, it could be a country, but it starts with people. And turning that into a really high clarity, impactful, and attractive brand that's a magnet for people. So you can even email me, rich@richbrands.org. You can send me an email, tell me about yourself. I will respond. Those are the ways. And you know what? I've been doing this for 49 years. So I will tell you once I listen to you, because I'm not going to talk at you. I'm going to listen to you. And what you're going to get when I say, may I reflect, is straight talk you can trust and deep experience you can count on. I could talk for months about any aspect of what makes identity, what turns, marketing into brand, recognition and perception, because I've done it for a long time. So,
And
there you go.
I just like to say, Rich, time's evaded us, and I know we could talk forever, but from me and Eddie, we just like to say thank you for sharing your message with us and many others who will watch this. And may the continued success will be that it does happen and positive things will carry on being impactful through many challenges in years to come, and for you as a person to know that you've made that difference.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Eddie. I really love what you do, David. Keep it up. It's awesome. God bless.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Rich. Appreciate it.
Support the show and show your love to these amazing people. Follow their links in the description for more.
Hi, my name is Amy Harrison. I just published another book, and this is the first hard copy I've released. Let's claw right into a sneak peek. Hi, I'm my Galaxy Brat. Error. It is becoming clearer. Y'all probably think I'm annoying. Turns out they all just plain boring. I'm just being me, the realest version. Sweet on the inside, tell like it is on the outside. Yes, I embrace love, never hate. But honesty flies in my mouth like a dove. Be careful before it's too late. If you want to read more, visit the link in the description. Meow at you later.
Hi there, I'm Michael Drake, and I've written a book called The Paradox of a Mortal Mind. It's an invitation to slow down and really think about your life as a temporary part of who you are as a person. I want you to step back and think about, the things, the chances that you have in life, and the relationships that you have in life, and what you value. And the book is like I said, an invitation to slow down, really think about where you are and where you want to go, and just embrace the beauty of impermanence. Embrace the fact that you will be a picture on the wall one of these days, and it's your opportunity to leave an impact on the people that you love and the community that you have. And it's really about how you make people feel at the end of the day. And so you can pick up my book anywhere on Amazon, anywhere in the world. It'll ship right to your door. It's called The Paradox of a Mortal Mind. It's by Michael Drake. And I also have a website. It's called themortalmind.com. And you can get my audiobook, my ebook, and I hope you enjoy it. And thank you very much for being here.
And I've just been listening to the Paramedic Chris children's books on audio again, and I just love it because they've given a tribute in one of them to my dad as well, who passed away a few years ago. I love audio books, and it's great to walk around, and it's great to sit at the computer, if you're out jogging or wherever, to listen to them as well. All 4 of the Paramedic Chris children's books are available on audiobook from Amazon. Go and take a listen to them. You won't be disappointed. You'll hear what happens when a community pulls together and supports one another. The best thing is to pop over to my website, paramedicchriskidsbooks.org, and you'll see the links on the shop page. Keep safe, everyone, and thank you for being you.
The Journey podcast explores stories of personal growth, challenges, and life-changing moments. Each episode dives into unique experiences, offering insights and inspiration for listeners navigating their own paths. I believe everyone has a story worth sharing. If you'd like to share your journey with David and others, email your story to wisewords1983@reborn.com, and it may be featured in a future episode.